these things were written to teach us. These things were written to teach us, to give us encouragement through the endurance that we see, so that we might have hope. These things were written to give us hope. What are these things? It's the story of God, the story of the Scriptures, of God working with His people, specifically the first 39 books of the Bible leading to the birth of Jesus. And so today I want to talk to you about the book of Genesis, this story that was written down for us so that we would be encouraged, that we would have hope. Genesis. I'm not sure if you read Genesis, if you know what Genesis is about, but it begins with creation. It begins in the beginning. Right? God creates everything. He says it's good. Then we see sin enter the world through the free will that God gave His children. And then we see God work with His children, find them over and over again. We see sin build and build and build. We see a flood that takes place. God sees the evil in the world, but He sees a family. He saves that family, Noah and his family. And then God puts the rainbow in the sky that you and I get to see quite often, to say that there are better days ahead, that God is not going to destroy the world by a flood again, but that there's better days ahead. The storm has passed, the flood has passed. There's hope for the future, the rainbow. Then we see God pinpoint the story into a man named Abraham, and then we see his family. And certainly there are blessings in that family, but there's a big mess in that family as well, because there's still sin, but God doesn't give up on His people. And then we see the story of Joseph, and in the story of Joseph, we see a messed up family again, but then we see forgiveness, and we see the truth proclaimed. What you meant as evil, God will repurpose for good. So Genesis is the book of beginnings, and there's a lot of beginnings that take place in Genesis. But today, as we focus in on the Scriptures, specifically the whole book of Genesis, I want to encourage you to read it this week. All right? I'm reminded that God is a God of new beginnings. New beginnings. And we see beginning after beginning after beginning. Even though God's children continue to end things, God keeps beginning new things. He keeps working things out somehow, some way into a new beginning. And so I don't know where you are in your life. I don't know where you are in your faith. But I know this is that God is a God of new beginnings. Yes, He created, but He continues to create in you and me, and He actually calls us His new creation to bring His goodness into this world. And so my hope, my prayer is that God will bring a new beginning in your life, that you will have hope, that you'll sense that new beginning, and that you'll walk in it and through it by faith in a God who is with you, who is calling you to be a blessing into this world. May you be blessed as you enter into the new beginning that God has for you.